All right, class, welcome to week number 8. That is right, week number 8, the last week of your 7305 class, which is Foundations of Library and Information Science. As usual, I am your instructor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, aka Dr. Jace. And the first thing I wanted to do was just let you all know that I want to congratulate you for making it to the end of the course. Congratulations. Actually, not everybody did, and that's something that I wanted to bring up. I've probably had 5 or 6 people who either could not, who dropped the course either because they could not complete it because of the workload or because of other things that were going on. So the fact that you have made it through the course, and I know there was a lot of work, a lot of reading, and not a lot of time to do assignments, but the fact that you have made it shows that you have the resilience to be successful here at Sissel. And so we are glad to have you, and for a lot of you, easier times are coming, because if this was your first class in the program, and for most of you it probably was, then it just takes a while to adjust to grad school, to a new program, and so forth. But once you do, you get that adjustment, and then you just proceed from there. So congratulate yourselves for what you have done, and keep up the good hard work throughout the rest of your time at Sissel and throughout the rest of your career. Having said that, a few things that I wanted to say. Yeah, the discussion prompts have ended pretty much well. You do have a week 8 discussion prompt, but let me just say that the quality of the first 7 weeks was very good, just as good as any quality on discussion prompts that I've had in any required course that I've taught here at Sissel. You all have done a fantastic job with your discussion posts. Most of the time you did great with your assignments. There were very few bad grades on assignments. And actually, when it came to the timelines, y'all did really, really, really good. I did see a particular template more times than I wanted to see, and I was like, what kind of effort goes in with these templates? But the templates were not against the rules to use. I just hope that you still had some sort of learning that went on, even if you did a template to do your to do your timeline. So I wanted to put that out there. This assignment that you all have coming due this week, the final assignment number 6, and in fact, let's just go ahead and take a look at it since I'm talking about it. Yeah, for assignment number 6, the advocacy argument, this really is the big thing, whether you believe it or not. The big thing is... The big thing is, and it's in here somewhere, I just don't know where, but I know I wrote it in here. Please, oh, there it is. Okay, this assignment should not be intense, folks. You don't have to be an overachiever for this assignment. This assignment is meant to be the ending of the class, and it is meant to be not all that time consuming. So really, if you spend more than 3 hours on that advocacy argument, then you're doing something wrong. 3 hours is the absolute most you should spend on it. Most of you will probably get it done in an hour and a half to 2 hours. But 3 hours or less is probably all that should take. So please don't stress yourself out trying to be too fancy or complicated with that assignment, okay? So, and that will be your final assignment, aside from, your final discussion post. So make sure you do those things, and then you will be done with 7305. Okay, we're going to be able to keep this under 15 minutes because we're just at 5 minutes now. because we're talking about advocacy, I did just also want to tell you all about two library associations that deal with advocacy in different ways, but library associations outside of the American Library Association that you might be interested in if you are interested in issues of advocacy. Now, you will notice, especially once you get into professional practice, but probably even before then, you're going to notice there are a lot of organizations and associations within the LIS field. They can be pretty overwhelming. But I wanted to tell you about two that do very good work and deal with advocacy, and that I've noticed a lot of students don't necessarily know about these two organizations if they're not told about them. Also, yeah, as usual, you see a lot of pants hanging in the background, and that's just because, cool tip, pants a lot of times will last longer if you let them hang dry as opposed to putting them in the dryer. It's very good for the cup. Okay. All right, so the first organization that I wanted to talk about was the Freedom to Read organization and the Freedom to Read Foundation. I'm sorry. And the Freedom to Read Foundation is a nonprofit legal and educational organization affiliated with the American Library Association, but not an actual part of the American Library Association, but definitely affiliated. The Freedom to Read Foundation protects and defends the First Amendment to the Constitution and supports the rights of libraries to collect and individuals to access information. So you've got a purpose statement there. You want to check that out. And then some of the foundation's activities include promoting and protecting the freedoms of speech and of press, protecting the public's right to access information and materials stored in the nation's libraries, safeguarding libraries' rights to disseminate all materials contained in their collections, and supporting libraries and librarians in their defense of the First Amendment rights by supplying them with legal counsel or the means to secure it. Okay? And there's more there. If you want to read up more on the Freedom to Read Foundation and potentially join, and you can join, I believe, at a student level. Let's just make sure. Okay. Yes. So student membership is just $10. So if you want to start getting involved now in networking, this is one way to do it. Personal membership level, $10 for students. By the way, your student memberships to the state associations and to the American Library Association are also relatively cheap. So I want y'all to keep that in mind too. The price goes up dramatically when you are no longer a student. But while you're a student, it's a good time to take advantage of like $10 and $25 membership fees. Okay. And sometimes people will even sponsor you, so that's one thing to look at. By the way, sorry, the Freedom to Read Foundation, their website is ftrf.org, okay? So once you put that in, you can read about them and everything that they do. And the same will be said about everylibrary.org. So the way that Every Library does advocacy is, this is a nonprofit organization that's very, very loosely associated with ALA, not heavily associated at all. But what Every Library can do that ALA can't do is every library can endorse political candidates. So what Every Library does is they are kind of like a political nonprofit, and that's what they engage in, political activity. They endorse candidates who are supportive of libraries, and then they also support library initiatives and also fundraise for library initiatives that appear on ballots. So for instance, if you have a referendum for building a new public library building, Every Library would be an advocacy group that would endorse voting yes to the referendum, as well as they would fund marketing strategies like signage and that sort of thing to get the word out and support the initiative, the political initiative, and that sort of thing. And every library also, I believe, they have, well, I know at one point they had an active journal. I don't know how active that is right now, but there are ways to get involved with every library. I don't think that they do actual membership like the Freedom to Read Foundation, but you can definitely donate and you can definitely find ways to volunteer. So everylibrary.org and then also FTRF.org for the Freedom to Read Foundation. Two very good library advocacy organizations. All right, with that said, we will keep it under 15. In fact, we'll keep it under 11. You all have been great. I hope to have you all in additional classes. And I know some of you will avoid me, but some others, hopefully, I'll see you again. And until that time, please be safe, be calm. We're going to make it through COVID and all these other struggles. Just believe. Have a good one.